Hi, everybody. Waiting for Sarah to come on, and we're going to talk about forest bathing, which I'm excited to talk about with everybody. Hi, squirrel. Just waiting for Sarah to get on. Hi, Sarah. Let's try. Keep trying. Hi, Sarah.
Hello,
I just love live sometimes because you never know with all these technical issues and stuff. But great to have you. I love the topic today.
I am so excited to dive into this subject. Sorry, let me just get my adjustments made here. I think that's, yeah, as low as I can go. Okay, there. Yeah, hi, welcome. This is going to be such a good subject. I can't wait.
Yeah, I have been doing this. When I was in Thanatology doing my degree, this topic came up a lot about forest bathing, and I've done these presentations before, like for Chartwells and stuff,
Yeah,
and the seniors just love it because it's something we can all do at all ages
yeah,
and all capabilities,
yeah.
right? Because it's not a forest bathing isn't like taking a marathon around the forest. It's just taking a nice leisurely stroll and then taking it all in. But what are your thoughts about forest bathing?
Yes. So I thought we would open up today's conversation by talking about what is that and
Mm.
explaining for those that don't know. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction for anyone that's joining us today that doesn't know who I am over here on Karen's account. My name is Sarah McCready. My business name is Illuminated Joy, and I am an intuitive mentor and a Reiki master teacher. And so, in amongst all of that, grounding and anything related to coming back into my body, teaching my clients how to come back into the body and understanding your energetic body in relationship to your physical body and your physical world is my whole life's work now.
Mm-hmm.
And so forest bathing is a really, really important tool that I use during my emotional recovery journey. I experienced 4 separate toxic relationships over a 25-year period of my life. Each of those relationships was a long-term relationship. I lived with each of them and was married to one of the 4. And so it was the 4th and final toxic relationship that created the breakdown for my breakthrough. And on my emotional recovery journey, that's when I started to tap into my energetic body and learn more about spirituality and how everything is connected. Learning about my energetic body, learning how we are all one. Everything is energy and we are all energy. And forest bathing became a savior during that really tumultuous time in my life. So forest bathing, as Karen was saying, is really about this going into the woods, into the forest, onto the trail, and absorbing everything that nature has to offer. You're not taking a bath in the forest, literally. And it is accessible to anyone and everyone at all times, and in all weather elements as well. So what forest bathing is for me is really about coming back into that centeredness. As you are going through a highly toxic divorce, or as we were talking about in our last conversation, a non-death loss, moving through the grief of those journeys or those experiences rather, you are very dysregulated in your nervous system. And so finding tools to be able to come back to self, come back into regulation are super, super critical to helping you process the emotions of those experiences. And forest bathing was one of those tools for me. Mm-hmm. So I would go into the woods or the trail that is near where I live, and I would sit at the riverbank. I would breathe in, and that's also part of why forest bathing is so effective, is because you're actually taking time to breathe and getting that air down into your diaphragm rather than that shallow breathing that keeps us in that hyperactive state and phase. And so the forest bathing is really about coming back to centered and getting grounded again, regulating your nervous system. That's what's at the key or the center of a forest bathing experience. And there's been so many amazing things that have been shared recently, like in the last 5 years, about the benefits of forest bathing. So I'm just going to have a little list, and I'm just going to share what some of those are. It increases focus and memory. It relieves stress and burnout. It boosts your immunity. It improves heart and lung health. It helps you with your anger. It reduces anxiety and worry. It can improve your mood and your energy levels. And it overcomes depression and sadness. And it helps speed up recovery from illness. And there's actually reasons why all of this occurs. And the reason being is because, number one, you're taking time to be still. In this 24/7, always on hustle culture, we are never still. And when you're on the trail or in the forest, you are giving yourself time to decompress. And as you're breathing, as you're inhaling, you're actually breathing in what's known as negative ions. And negative ions are like after we've had a thunderstorm and the air smells really good, the air is charged with negative ions. And so in the forest, the trees and the earth are giving off these negative ions. And when we're breathing them in, they're creating all those beneficial effects that I just shared with you. It's helping to regulate your nervous system. It's helping to shift out of that depression and anxiety. It's calming, and it's beginning to move you into relaxation, which essentially is turning on the parasympathetic nervous system. So getting out of that fight, flight, or freeze response, which we are mostly in, and moving into that rest and repair and relax. So that is a very long introduction to what forest bathing is. But I was hoping also to talk a little bit today about how forest bathing was showing up for you in your work. So we were talking last time about those non-death losses. Can you explain a little bit about how forest bathing came to you and how the benefits of it came into play with your work?
So I've done a lot of support groups, and one of them was a walking support group. So for grievers, right? Yeah. And I noticed that we were going by water as well as in the forest. And all those points, it was so funny that you had notes, because I had my notes as well too, because there was so much, the research is so well done in this. This is, so what Sara's saying is actually all truth. It's all documented, it's all research. But my own story, it goes back to when my mom died suddenly in 2006. And I used to pound the pavement and go into the forest. And I was more, it wasn't until later I realized, because of what I studied, that I think I was naturally going to the forest myself.
You were being drawn
I was
to it.
being drawn to the forest myself, and I didn't even know back then that that's what I was doing. But I notice as I've been working in this field, even non-death losses such as divorce or whatever, as well as death losses, that there's something about this that is special. I don't know. It's so unique. And what I like about it is if you only have 10 minutes, it's not like you have to spend,
Hour.
like hours, and also another thing is what we're finding too, is that even therapists and counselors are taking their people, like their clients, and going into the forest and walking with them to do sessions, right? Because there's something so grounding about it. There's tours all over. I think there's some in Markham where they have forest bathing tours, but you don't even need that, right? Like as you were saying, you can go anywhere. But I was noticing with my support group that they do tend to really enjoy that aspect of when I was doing the walking group, of being amongst the nature and there's something. So it's a really, I love it. I've done it like you did. It was some healing. Like you said, there's real biological properties here, but emotionally, mentally. Also, I was going to mention that when you're going through a really tough time, there's they've even studied that it helps with problem solving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you are shifting out of the limbic brain, which is that part of that fight, flight, or freeze, part of the dysregulation. When you are able to calm yourself and shift out of the limbic brain, then you're able to access the other areas of your brain. It's almost like when you're going into the forest, whether you're sitting at the riverbank or sitting amongst the trees or doing a walk through the trails or the forest, it's a form of meditation. And so when we go into that form of meditation, you are accessing other regions of your brain that allow you to have insights or get that intuitive information or be able to have a perspective shift, because you can see things from a different point of view. So yeah, that totally makes sense that it relates to helping with problem solving, because you are literally accessing different parts of your brain.
Yeah. And when you're going through a hard time, it can help bring you clarity.
Yes.
Right? As you navigate whatever you're navigating, it really can help.
Well, that's why I was out there all the time, because originally I was running. When I first exited the fourth and final toxic relationship, I started running again. And that brings with it its own type of runner's high and intuition. But as the year moved on, I required more of the grounding. I was still out of my body when I was doing the running. Whereas when I went into the forest, I got grounded, I got centered, I came back into my body. And it allowed me to process the emotions that I was experiencing inside of that, the dismantling of that relationship. But also, as you were just saying, it helped me to be able to see the conversations that we'd been having in a very different light. I was able to shift my perspective and step out of that victim mode, really, because I was getting so much clarity on what was actually happening, not what I thought was happening.
Yeah, that's big, right?
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was everything. And then that just, of course, because I was physically feeling the benefits of being in the forest, I kept, like you, when you experienced your mom's passing, I just kept being drawn to go back again and again and again. And then the more time that I spent on the trail, the more, I'm using air quotes, coincidences would happen. And I don't believe in coincidences. So I knew things were starting to happen for me, not to me. And I was able to have so many insights into how to navigate that separation. And what to say and how to say it and what to do and when to do it, like how to make my moves. And that all happened because I was giving myself that gift of space and time and regulating my nervous system.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you finish.
No, I was saying a lot of times when I finish with sessions with people, it's one of the things I try to remind them is I'll mention forest bathing, like, and just anytime they can do it, because as you said, like when you're going through a really hard time, death loss or non-death loss, as you said, your amygdala system, your fear and fight center is off, and you need to, and now with death loss, it's a little slightly different, but you need to somehow get back online. And so I think that's what you're saying is you kind of get back online, right? And that's where that clarity comes in. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to move into another part of this conversation. How would you like me to share how to do a forest bathing? I have some tips on how to go about doing that for someone who hasn't
Yeah,
experienced the
yeah.
benefit
Let's
of that.
take them on a journey on how to do it.
Yeah, and then I would love to hear, after I've shared that, I would love to hear your real life experience with your
Mm-hmm.
clients in a forest bathing session. So when we're going into the forest, we're going with the intention to create some space, to create clarity, and we're going to engage all of our senses. As Karen was saying, this is your time to bring yourself back online. So the language that I'm using, I'm calling it getting centered, getting grounded, but really what it is it's moving out of that sympathetic nervous system state into the parasympathetic nervous state. And the rest, relax, and repair mode, giving your brain a chance to access the rational and reasoning functions that it has, and so that you can begin to process the emotions of the experience as opposed to being so reactionary. So we're going to use all of our senses. So we're going to step into the woods and we're just going to look around. We're going to see what we can see. We're going to watch the birds flying. We're going to maybe see the trees, the wind blowing the trees, the leaves blowing. And then we're going to listen to what we can hear. Maybe we hear the birds chirping, or if it's near a river or a body of water, maybe you're hearing crickets and frogs. And then you're going to touch the trees, touch the bark, touch the ground, and then smell. This is where the breath comes in, taking those nice, long, deep inhalations, breathing in those negative ions, and beginning to slow your breath down and relax your nervous system. And so smelling the leaves, maybe you can smell the bark, maybe you can smell the earth, in the early morning or early evenings, the forest floor is damp, and so you can smell the earth. And so you're just going to go through your 5 physical senses and begin to see, feel, taste. You can sometimes even taste the pine, you can taste the earth. So going through your 5 physical senses and bringing yourself into that place of relaxation. And when you've arrived in that place of relaxation, number one, you know it because you're actually like taking a full breath in and you can feel the air going all the way down. And number 2, you are giving yourself that chance for peace. And when we move into that state of peace, we are able to begin to access our other senses. So the 6th sense. Mm-hmm. So that's the short form version of what the experience would be like if you were to do that on your own. And like we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, there's no cost to this. You can do it at any forest, any wooded area, any trail. It's just doing it with intention and giving yourself that space and that grace to take the time to do it. And it can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or you can spend as long as you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. That was great. I almost went with you there. I was in there I'm like, oh, the only thing like I would also do is you could also sit by a tree, and just you can bring a towel or a little blanket, and you can just sit by the tree and try to take it all in. You could do a quiet meditation if you're interested in that. And it can be, as you said, you can walk right in and walk for all day hiking, or you can just walk a little bit in and just take that in, right? That's what I love about it, because it's so versatile for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, your skill set doesn't matter.
No.
There's no equipment required other than, as Karen was saying, maybe a blanket or a cushion. And most definitely that was leaning against the trees was super important for me. That I could feel, particularly as I was opening up my other senses, my intuitive senses, grounding in that way by leaning against a tree and becoming regulated and relaxed was really, really pivotal for me for quite a while, actually. And then, as I said at the top of the conversation, sitting by the riverbank, I would spend at least a good hour, almost on a daily basis. For a period of time there, I was going daily and going for at least an hour. And there's actually documentation around being by water that they're starting to share now as well, about how that will regulate your nervous system also.
I will also add to that, when you're in that environment, feelings can come up, and you can release them safely there too. Like in my own experience, as well as witnessing others and being with others on this journey, is releases can happen there too.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's why I was going down there regularly, because inevitably there would always be a very big cry, and just allowing those emotions to move through me and not continuing to be stuck inside and stuffing. It really was like a full release. And so your body starts to, you're kind of like training your body. It starts to know, oh, it's okay to be there and to give yourself that space and to allow for the emotions to come up and out. And the sense of peace that you feel when you've released those big emotions, that's part of the forest bathing experience as well. And I think one of the key benefits to having that experience is to be able to process those big emotions that come from grief in whatever form that takes for you.
Yeah, and the waves, right? They come and go. Yeah, I did a lot of that releasing for the divorce as well as the death losses I've experienced. So some days you don't know you're going to go in and think it's not going to come, and it comes. And other days you think you're going to, and it doesn't, right? So
exactly.
I also want to mention that aromatherapy would be also okay in this as well. Like if you have the forest smelling oils or something, like if you need, if you want it at home, because even if you want to smell that in your house or something, that can be grounding as well. You know more about this than me, but I researched that, and that would be helpful as well if they can't get out that day, or if it's a rainy, bad day.
Yeah, there's actually been proof around what I'm about to share on that topic also. Putting on, like YouTube has all of these amazing channels that play forest sounds, jungles, Amazon jungles. So you're hearing waterfalls and birds. So there's actually documentation that talks about receiving the benefits from playing those types of videos, gazing at the trees on the video. And then, like you were saying, the scent, bringing in the scent through essential oils will, again, activate those parts of your brain that help move you into that relaxation and regulating your nervous system. So absolutely, if it's like ridiculous weather and you can't get out, whether it's wind or rain or snow, whatever it may be, there are ways to supplement, if you will, from home. And so using videos of forests and forest sounds, and then essential oils to activate the olfactory senses. that's an amazing substitute if you're not able to physically get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty telling, right? That
Yeah.
we feel better even in our own place if we have the right sense and the right visuals.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that too, just in case, you know, you're having a busy week and you just haven't been able to get out there, but at least you can do something to try to
That's
do
right.
some grounding that way. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm watching the
mhm.
clock and I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Do you have any final words to share with us on this subject?
No, I think it's like what you said is that many people, we're so busy and we're so hectic and stressed. And I think we all need reminding that this is actually a really easy tool for all of us.
Yes.
I even tell my
Accessible. Yes.
I even tell my daughters, like, you know, try to get in nature just a little bit, right? It's just,
Yeah.
there's something about it. And I think we just all need reminded, especially when we're going through, I mean, all the time. But when you're going through a hard time, which that's what Sara and I deal with all the time,
Yeah.
is it's really one of those really great tools. And what I like about it is it's free,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And if you have to drive there to find it, you know, try to do it every once in a while, or try to find a little park even or something.
Yeah.
So do anyone
Yeah.
have any, before we go and before I let you say, does anyone have any questions for Sara and I about forest bathing? If you do, just leave it in the comment.
Yeah.
Sara, what are your final words about this great forest bathing?
I like what you just said. I'm going to echo your sentiment. Make it a priority, even if it's just once a week. If it's not easily accessible to you because you live in a concrete jungle, at least make it a priority once a week to find a park, if not a trail, to spend that time in nature.
Yeah.
And then supplementing throughout the week with the at-home practice that we just outlined, using video and essential oils.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a game changer. It's part of what helped me create a deeper meditation practice. It's a significant portion of how I was able to process the emotions coming from the breakdown for the breakthrough. And it is still a part of my life, as you were saying today. Like, this is something that will always be a part of my life now. Yeah.
Don't forget the healing.
Yeah.
It is very much a healing practice.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it with others who I've worked with, as well as myself, as well as you. So, is it like a form of mindfulness?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. It does put you in that meditative state. Yeah. And then when you're implementing, as I was talking about a minute ago, the five senses, when you're intentionally looking around, listening, smelling, and possibly tasting, you're moving into a mindfulness practice when you are being intentional that way in the forest, on the trail.
Yeah, it can become quite addicting that you want to be by water or you want to be by trees.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel called. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, great talk again, Sara. Thanks for joining us. I like looking at the textures at the tree bark.
Yes. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Us too.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Questions. We really appreciate that. If you have anything else you'd like to add to this conversation, please share it in the comments after the video is posted, and we will answer your questions when we see them. And if you would like to go deeper into the emotional healing journey, I would love to chat with you. So you can reach out in the DMs, or you can go to the link on my account and hit me up there.
Yep.
There's a free meditation over there for you, and some other information that I'd love to share with you.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, Sara. We'll hopefully see you next month.
Thanks.
And bye, everybody.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.